Hello there to anybody listening. So this audio I'm recording now is in response to not the most recent video filled with wrongness that I've watched, but it is one that was in my queue, so to speak. There's quite the list is quite lengthy. There are a lot of videos filled with wrongness on YouTube. So the latest one is the one I'm doing now is by Roaming Millennial. You may or may not have heard of her. If you haven't, somehow you'll see who she is in a minute. So Roaming is one of the many anti-female advocacy group YouTubers who make videos. Another name for them is anti-feminist. She, as well as many others, supposedly just can't stand the idea of a women or female-focused advocacy ideology. So she's against it. Anyway, so her video is about celebrities and how she can't stand them giving their opinions, their liberal opinions. So I'm just gonna go ahead and dive right into that. Well, I guess this isn't diving right in because I did a whole intro. Whatever. Let's start.
If there's one thing I love in life, it's being told that I'm intolerant by elitists who have long since lost touch with how 99% of people live. It just does it for me.
Who are these quote-unquote elitists calling you intolerant? And what exactly makes you feel they've lost touch with how 99% of us live? I want names.
Hey, this is Roaming Millennial. Welcome back to my channel. Let's talk about celebrities and politics. I'm sure by now we've all heard Meryl Streep's anti-Donald Trump acceptance speech.
Yeah, I did. She expressed a pro-immigration stance and sadness over the idea that a guy who mocked a handicapped reporter was elected president. In no way was that her calling you intolerant.
There's also George Clooney, who always just knows better than everyone.
Okay. Weird way to describe him. He was asked a question about the presidential election in his country, and he answered with his prediction and hope. A lot of people, including those who voted for him, didn't think Trump would actually win, and it's not because they felt they knew better than everyone. Why on earth are you interpreting a guy answering a question as him thinking he knows better than everyone?
And feminists like Amy Schumer and Lena Dunham, despite being extremely rich and successful, love to remind all us little people how constantly oppressed they are.
When? When have they done that, not to talk of constantly?
Now, I want to clarify that, of course, I think celebrities, like anyone else, have the right to express their political views and advocate for whatever causes they want.
Gee, how very big of you to state that you're aware of and okay with our legal rights. Of course you say that, but then go on about all of your issues with celebrities exercising that legal right. It seems more like your conservative bias makes you wish that liberal celebrities didn't have the right to express certain political views. But of course, that's an indefensible and crazy stance to cop to having, so you wouldn't admit it expressly, but you do imply that that's what you'd actually prefer throughout your video. Also worth noting that liberal celebrities are the only ones you call out. Gee, I wonder why.
Celebrities being active in politics isn't what bothers me. I actually think everyone should be active in and informed about politics since it affects our lives in huge ways.
Yeah, sure you do.
What I do find annoying, though, and what this video is about, is how celebrities use their entertainment platforms to push political agendas and how self-important they can be.
Well, aren't you just the spitting image of a black pot?
Imagine you're at work one day. Almost any place of work will do. In this case, let's say you're a cashier at McDonald's.
right off the bat, this is a very bad analogy. False equivalency, roaming. Being an actor at an award show is nothing like being an employee at McDonald's.
Just for example, you take a customer's order, get his money, give him his food, and then you tell him, "Enjoy your meal, sir. We hope to see you again soon. Donald Trump is a fascist bigot." If you were the customer in that situation, you would probably be thinking to yourself, "Wow, that's really inappropriate."
Yeah, because that would be inappropriate because of the setting and context. An unsolicited opinion given by an employee to a customer about anything would be inappropriate, usually. A solicited one, however, is another story, as I've definitely experienced cashier and customer talk about political views in many a checkout line. I literally watched two women in Target a couple months ago, a cashier and a customer, talk about their differing views on Hillary Clinton after the customer prompted the discussion when she referenced a magazine cover with Hillary or Trump's picture on it. The exchange was totally comfortable and natural, and even though they disagreed, both were just amused and polite. The customer did not indicate that she felt the cashier was being inappropriate, and it didn't feel inappropriate to me either. Politics are too connected to our lives for interacting humans, especially extroverts, to never bring them up in public settings. Democrats and Republicans and libertarians and all the rest are all around us, employed everywhere. I don't think anyone walks around assuming that every employee in every shop agrees with them about Trump. And I don't think most people are like you and consider the subject of our president inappropriate for any place of work. Not to talk of work that involves art and creativity and personal perspective like filmmaking and acting.
You see, the saying that you don't bring politics into the workplace, I guess unless you actually work in politics, exists for a reason.
Well, a saying is not a rule. And again, life is too tied to politics for most to uphold this saying. This election especially inspired a lot of political conversation among citizens in offices all across the US. Then, of course, there's the huge part you're overlooking, where art and entertainment fields are completely their own unique thing, and not the sort of professions that demand one avoid getting political or opinionated or personal. They usually, in fact, demand the opposite. You also would be considered inappropriate if you were a McDonald's employee and you told the customer that you'd like to thank your mother and God for winning you Employee of the Month or something. But you're not going to make a video about how thanking God is inappropriate at an award show because it's inappropriate for a McDonald's employee to say to a customer, right? Didn't think so. Get this, an award show for art and artists is not a fast food restaurant or even a place of business at all. Neither is a Comic-Con panel or Twitter. I know. Hard to comprehend for your robotic, inept mind.
We're all free to have our own personal beliefs about relationships, religion, politics, whatever. But if you want to be professional, unless you actually work in those fields, then the sharing and spreading of your beliefs really doesn't belong where you work.
Thanks for reminding us of what we're all free to do, but I'm sorry. What? According to what does discussion of those things not belong at work? Chatting with one's colleagues about relationships, religion, or politics, as long as it doesn't eat up too much time at work or slow down workflow, is not at all unprofessional. I suppose a gay married man can't talk with his friendly coworkers about his husband, the new church they're trying out, or talk about how happy he and hubby were back in 2015 when gay marriage became legal in all 50 states and they could finally get married in their hometown, lest he be deemed not professional and inappropriate by ignorant roaming millennial types. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Humans discuss things, even at work. It's what we do. I assure you that Trump is being discussed daily in many American places of work. It would be unnatural to not talk about current political events. And to bring it back to entertainers, you say that unless you actually work in the fields of relationships, religion, or politics, that to stay professional, a word you clearly do not understand, you shouldn't talk about those things at work. But art does deal with those things all the time. It's almost impossible to make any sort of art that doesn't deal with at least one of those things. You're talking like you're an alien level of ignorant about what music, films, books, comedy, and other art entail.
And I'm sorry if that's the human resources side of me coming out, but it's true. Celebrities, I feel, don't seem to understand this.
No, it's not true at all. It's you who doesn't understand what fuels art, or that an award show for art and artists is not just some sterile work function. How do you make art without being opinionated and having a perspective?
If you're an actor, for instance, and you're at some work-related event like an award show or a press conference or a promotional interview, I really think that going into some divisive political rant may not be the best idea if you want to attract a large audience.
Who specifically are you talking down to there? Like, who are you referencing? Anybody real? Which celebrity ever went into some divisive political rant while promoting something apolitical? You say it like it's this common thing celebrities do.
Shouldn't the focus of those kind of things be instead on, I don't know, your movies and TV shows? You know, the actual purpose of those events and the reason we pay any attention to you at all?
That's a cunty thing to say. Why do you think people pay attention to you, Roaming? It's also a stupid thing to say because celebrities who talk about politics generally only do so upon being asked during, interviews where, different topics are brought up. The nature of interviews is such that an interview can get a person to comment on virtually anything if the interviewer decides to ask about it. Are you not familiar with interviews or... Anyway, interviewers asking Americans about their historical election is not out of line, even at Comic-Con. Comic-Con is not a safe space. Plenty of comics involve politics, and having an opinion about your country's historical election and exercising your right to answer the question or discuss the topic brought up by sharing said opinion, the thing you lied earlier about being okay with, is also not out of line. But no, you're totally cool with celebs having a legal right to share their opinions. You just really, 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 really wish they wouldn't when they're asked about them. If they're liberal. Of course.
We go to accountants to have our taxes done. We take art classes to learn about art, and we watch award show to... Well, actually, I don't think anyone really watches award shows anymore, so never mind.
Yeah, only a measly 20 million people watch the Golden Globes. Idiot. By the way, your understanding of art is... I don't know. I swear, conservatives of this generation are creatively retarded, which I mean in the most literal sense. It explains why you fail so massively at comprehending art's purpose, and why you'd even think to compare learning about art to hiring an accountant to do your taxes. It also explains how so few creatives are conservative. But of course that would be the case, because art requires a certain amount of empathy, something most conservatives seem to be utterly deficient in.
Anyway, all that's just to say there's a time and place for everything. And if a celebrity wants to pursue their political interests in a way that doesn't exploit their entertainment platform, like shoving it down our throats when we're just trying to enjoy Comic-Con, then I honestly don't have a problem with it. You do you.
Jesus. Matt Damon briefly sharing an anecdote when an interviewer mentions the parallels between the wall in the movie Damon is there promoting to Trump's plan to build a wall. Is Damon shoving it down our throats to you? That would have prevented you from enjoying Comic-Con? Really? Well, aren't you a special kind of snowflake in need of every space outside of news to be made safe and protect your precious dumb ears from the horrors of any sort of anti-Trump sentiment.
Another thing that bugs me about these celebrity philosopher kings extraordinaire is how kind of arrogant they are.
Why are you calling them that? That's so bizarre. And you are arrogant, Roaming.
Dear Miley Cyrus, Katy Perry, Madonna, Amy Schumer, Lena Dunham, Jennifer Lawrence, and all you other pop stars and actors who, quite frankly, I find all very similar. I feel like I should remind you all that, despite your fame and fortune, you do not automatically know better than the rest of us when it comes to politics and social issues.
Oh, you feel like you should remind them? Because that's not arrogant or condescending at all, right? What the hell is wrong with your head? Why do you equate women being liberal or unsupportive of Trump to them being philosopher kings extraordinaire, whatever that is, who think they know better than you specifically, or better than non-celebrities specifically? Everyone has an opinion, and has it for a reason, including you, and it's not necessarily saying that they think they know better than anyone, but it's definitely not saying they think they know better than people who aren't of their social status, who aren't celebrities. You have your opinion. You had a pro-Trump, and I think still do have a pro-Trump opinion. Does that mean that you think everyone who doesn't support Trump, who doesn't have as many subscribers as you, is beneath you? Because that's what you're putting on the celebrities who are anti-Trump and have expressed that. You've expressed your support for Trump, though, and you have a bit of a following. So, hypocrite. You sound like really insecure to be assuming that a celebrity voicing their opinion is them implicitly talking down to non-celebrity people, like supposedly yourself. That's such an insecure way of thinking, and quite frankly a nutty way of thinking.
Being successful at music or acting or comedy does not all of a sudden make you some political savant that can talk down to the rest of the country.
No shit. Again, whoever said it did. Why does your mind interpret their hate for Trump as talking down to the entire country? And by the way, Roaming, you being a mini celeb yourself and having a YouTube channel where over 100,000 people are subscribed to you because you're smart, doesn't make your beliefs any more okay to express than those of the much bigger celebs you mention, or us plebes with no subscribers at all.
Your opinions aren't more enlightened than ours just because we happen to enjoy your media. So as much as I appreciate the effort to educate us unwashed masses, I think we're good.
I just think it's worth noting that none of the celebrities you've mentioned have ever referred to us as unwashed masses. The way you do this strange talking down to your audience thing, but frame it as this sort of see how stupid and beneath them they think we are, you guys, which you've done twice, maybe 3 times here now, seems pretty manipulative. You're quoting no one. Trying to get your audience to think these celebs regard them as unwashed masses and little people is very manipulative of you.
And before I go, I'd just like to say that as irritating as these celebrities can be, at the end of the day, the next time we see some smug actor or musician lecturing us about politics, I think we need to realize that we have only ourselves to blame.
And who shall we blame for your smugness, Roaming? No, yeah, it's totally our fault that liberal artists don't support a garbage human like Trump and feel free expressing their opinions as Americans. We really fucked up there. You nailed it.
When these celebrities have people hanging on their every word,
You're describing yourself.
following everything they do, and
Describing yourself.
buying every crappy product they try to sell us,
You have a Patreon, and a lot of YouTubers sell shitty, unnecessary merch. Some are even in your circle. So again, you're describing yourself and your buddies.
of course they're gonna have self-aggrandized views of themselves and their opinions.
Yeah, no kidding. You guys have whole YouTube channels devoted to yourselves, your perspectives, your beliefs, your views. 90% of your promotion is you. Nothing creative, just you. Talk about ego. Who has the self-aggrandized view of self again? I mean, you really don't see the irony of your accusation here?
Our culture has become so obsessed with celebrities and fame that we'll idolize pretty much anyone who appears on our TV screen.
Or our computer screen.
Sadly, we care more about what these people have to say about our society and our government than these people. The average person, especially the average millennial, probably doesn't even know who these people are.
That kind of sounds like a reason to encourage celebrities to use their platforms to get people politically aware, since that's where the eyes are. But of course, you don't like the way they tend to lean left, so that won't do. By the way, if society wasn't like this, you wouldn't have a job like this. Don't bite the hand that feeds you.
And love him or hate him, whether he's gonna do a good job or not, we now have to deal with the fact that our incoming president was elected at least in part because he was on TV.
Yeah, TV's what done it.
And talk about celebrity culture, just look at this. One of John Legend's tweets about the election got over 26,000 likes and 10,000 retweets.
Yet Hillary still lost, so what are you even... Should he not be using Twitter to express his thoughts and views, or... I mean, again, it really just seems like you don't approve of celebrities sharing views if they're views you don't agree with.
Who the heck is John Legend?
The guy you just mentioned. The guy you looked up and thought was worth mentioning in your video. Also an American citizen, so...
Why are we retweeting his political views en masse?
Because more than half of his countrymen agree with him, maybe? And also, that's what you do on Twitter. That's one of the, 3 intended interactions meant to occur between the tweeter and the follower. You have a Twitter account and know this. You even use yours to express your opinions and views just like Legend does, and your tweets also get retweeted en masse. Nowhere near Legend's level, but still, you're being a huge, massive hypocrite. Why is it okay for you to tweet political opinions that get retweeted, but it's something you take issue with when someone far more famous than you does it? I mean, what if you did grow to be as famous as John Legend? Would you stop tweeting your thoughts and political views? Probably not, right? So why should anyone else feel not free to share their views when you wouldn't and currently don't censor or limit yourself when it comes to sharing your own views just for being more popular and having more followers than most Twitter users do? Because your views are conservative, so it's okay to promote them in your unbalanced mind, right? You are shamelessly or obliviously biased, self-centered, illogical, ignorant, salty, and honestly just kind of dumb. Again, you are a textbook hypocrite, Roaming.
He has 8.5 million followers. People signed up to hear his opinions, sometimes by the hour. That's more people than tune into all mainstream media news networks during prime time combined.
I mean, one is news programming that airs at a very specific time, which a person has to sit through 30 minutes to an hour of, and one is Twitter, which is accessible anytime by phone or computer and involves simply hitting the follow button. So, pretty different levels of commitment required. Not to mention the varying ways and times of the day people get their news. Also, it's interesting that 8 million is this crazy high number that's about to make your head explode from indignation, but 20 million is small enough for you to smugly regard as basically no one. Interesting. It definitely makes sense that your subbies are attracted to your brains.
I don't even like the mainstream media.
Yeah, no shit. And is the sky blue?
But I think this goes to show that as a society, we have some serious self-reflection to do.
Oh, shut up, Roaming. You're pro petty, prejudiced, global warming denying, rapey, sexist, greedy, lying, corrupt, disrespectful Trump, and John Legend having 8 million followers instead of you is why you feel we as a society have some serious self-reflection to do? Give me a fucking break. What an ignorantly tone-deaf and empty thing to say.
Ultimately, celebrities only have as much influence as we give them, and sadly, we give them a lot. Anyway, thanks for watching, and a big thank you to my patrons who support this channel and make these videos possible.
So yeah, roaming millennial here, guys. And I just think it's so annoying when famous people, like that John Legend guy who I've never even heard of, use their Twitter accounts to, like, share their opinions. It's like, who do they think they are? American citizens or something? Individuals who think it's just, like, okay to have opinions? You know, it might just be the human resources robot in me, but I just feel like it's so inappropriate and unethical for a person with fans and a following to, you know, share an opinion and possibly convince people to do things, harmful things, like question Trump. By the way, to all of my fellow lowly dum-dums, I'm definitely one of you. Please keep doing as you've been doing and sending me money via Patreon. I really love money. And you faceless sycophants are okay too. See you back here next week with another video. Alright. Are we done? Another video filled with bullshit. It's crazy. They don't even question anything. That's the beauty of having morons as fans, really. Oh shit, is this thing still on?